Four hosts, they bout to wreck shit like Marco. Addicted to the Giants like it's Netflix and Narcos. The CEO making big moves as per usual. Captain Negative calling everybody delusional. This podcast is number one. Like when you take a piss, so share the link and pass it. Like bitch, you're making splits and Mr. Make-A-Wish, the sophisticated click. I spit offensive lines, now Tim can take a sip of some beer because he likes the taste of it, right? Don't forget the New York Giants beat the Patriots twice. The sickest dudes, eating chips and salsa like it's Victor Cruz. Win or lose, always gonna root for Big Blue. It's true, this a classic show. Tyree, catch it, bro. Play a drinking game while you listen and call it Plaxico. Take a couple shots. If it's funny, you can rewind. To bleed blue means it's in their jeans like Levi's. Eli, man in the shit, just like a sailor. Captain, we attacking bum rush like Lawrence Taylor. Podcast on point, the sharp as arrows. BBG, stay gritty like Mark Bavaro.
Surprise, surprise. Let's just jump on. James, are you there? Is that you?
Yes, it is me.
Oh my God. This is amazing. Jumping
Saturday
on with
podcast.
No direction, no clue what's going on. No real topics either. And you know what? I kind of like it.
We can go wherever we want to go.
Yeah, it's limitless.
Yep. Unless you want to just talk about how I'm arguing with everybody on Twitter.
we can't go that way. You want to go that way?
No, I don't give a shit. I mean, nothing's changed from my point of view. Did you see Gettleman today tweeting out all that stuff about the Giants? Like, we have so many holes on our roster. Why would they take a quarterback this year with only 2 picks in the top 100? I mean, I don't, bro. I'm struggling, man. I really am, man. I cannot. I don't know why it's so hard for everybody to wrap their head around this shit, but it is. Raiders came out today, said they're open to trading their pick. I don't know that we have enough ammo to move up. I don't know that they want to move up. It's been around a month or so since the season ended, and not a lot of clarification as to where we're going as a franchise. And it's going to be very interesting to see on Wednesday Shermer and Gettleman speak, and if they say anything at all or they just talk around again. It's frustrating.
It is frustrating. I think my mic was off for a brief moment, but looks like I'm back on. Yeah, so Wednesday is their press conference pre what is it?
Combine. Combine.
Pre-combine.
Yeah, combine already. How about that?
And I'm pretty sure Dave Gettleman would tell you they are going to take a quarterback and they are not going to take a quarterback. So you'll learn everything you want.
Who knows? I got a feeling that it's going to be Drew Lock or Jones or one of these other guys. I just don't. I don't see that they have the ammunition to trade up with the picks that they have. How about that Sam Beal acquisition? Want that pick back yet? I don't think they have the ammo to move up. I don't know if they would even consider moving up. And I don't think you're getting Haskins sitting there at 6 waiting and just twiddling your fingers. I think somebody's going to recognize that this kid is tremendous talent, and they're going to make a play for him. And we're in a bad spot. The problem is that I can't tell if the franchise realizes they're in a bad spot or they're just smitten with the way everything was going.
I mean, there is a possibility that they don't have to move on.
I mean, there's a slim possibility, but let me tell you something. To me, there's like Haskins and then a huge drop off. Man, I don't think any of those other guys in any other, if we had last year's draft, I think some of these other guys are 3rd and 4th round picks, man. And to think that and Haskins, like, I'm okay with. Like, Haskins, I could see in that group of quarterbacks last year. I could see making the move for him. I don't have a problem with it. The problem is after Haskins, I don't see the next guy. And that's what I was so concerned about last year. Was like, okay, well, we're going to pass this year. Like, where are we going? Like, you're in purgatory right now. And there's no telling which way this is going to go. Next year is not a guarantee. You can end up winning the same amount of games next year and end up with a worse pick. If you end up with 6 or 7 wins, you're out of the top 10. Like, I don't know what the plan is, and I don't know what the plan could be. Like, I don't see any way that they could look at this and go, oh yeah, quick fix. So if it's not a quick fix, like, why isn't Vernon on the table? Like, why isn't Jenkins on the table? Like, why are we keeping Eli around? If you think you're going to add 2 top 100 players and have $30 million of cap space, and you're waiting to, like, restructure Vernon, thinking that that's going to open the floodgates, like, we're kidding ourselves. And that's not delusional or negative. That's just reality, man.
I'm in agreement with you there. I mean, I think the pieces are in play that they do want to make moves. They started getting rid of people last year. Like, in anticipation, what seems like they're going to go for a quarterback. So that portion has me a little optimistic that they're going to make the right.
Don't get me wrong, dude. If they walk out of this with Haskins, I can care less about anything else. Like, if they find a way to walk out of here with Haskins, whether he drops to 6, whether they find a way to move up and get him, like, if they find a way to get out of this thing with Haskins, I'm fine with anything else. Because if you said to me that, all right, they're gonna hold on to Vernon and they're gonna hold on to Jenkins to try to compete this year. Like, to me, I'm all about assets, right? Like, if the writing is on the wall that we don't have a very good roster, what are we doing with these high-priced guys? Get me a third, get me a 4th-round pick. The more bullets in your gun to move up or to try to hit on more players, the better. If you end up with Haskins and the idea is we're going to let these contracts roll off naturally, while I don't love it, I have my quarterback, right? Like I don't have to worry about where I'm getting the quarterback from. Now I'm okay with saying, all right, if we struggle this year, we're going to end up with another high pick. We're going to have a ton of cap relief. And now we're in a similar situation to where the Jets are, where they'd have $90 million, their quarterback in place with a bunch of money to play with and a high draft pick to try to turn the thing around. The thing the Giants have in their favor is they have some offensive talent around them, unlike the Jets do right now. So, but here's the thing, man. Like, if that's the case, then, like, how old is OBJ now?
He's still in the beginning part of his career, though. 4 years in? 5 years in? 26, 27?
So, still Marco, you're looking at if this year's not good, and then next year is the year that you're going to relief all those, he's going to be 28, 29, 29, 30?
So what do you consider like the key? What age do you consider prime?
I mean, I don't think he's out of his prime, but at 30. But if the roster, you've done the windows are really small, right? Like at 29, 30 years
tight,
old, you would have. It's getting tight, and you would have to hit. You got to be right on Haskins. You got to be right on the draft picks. You got to be right on the free agents that you're going to bring in, and then win in that small window that he has. It's a very complicated puzzle that they're trying to put together right now. And I don't know that anybody has, like, to me, it's like blow it up. Like if we're not going to compete next year, coming off of the last couple of years that we just had to endure, like, blow this thing up. I don't get hanging on to Eli. I don't get hanging on to Vernon. I don't get hanging on to Jenkins because I don't see a way that they compete next year for a championship. So what are we doing? Meanwhile, we're pissing off Landon Collins. This is a guy, Landon Collins, say what you want about Landon Collins. But I even said this last year, right? Like, you're playing with fire. Because if I'm Landon Collins, right, and I know that we don't want to talk about what Herzlich said, right? But if I'm Landon Collins and but it's the truth, Marco. Like, take a step. I'm not saying it to be a dick or to just be argumentative. Like, I look at this from a rational point of view. If I'm Landon Collins, right, and let's say what Herzlich said is true, right? Landon Collins probably is in some type of agreement with Herzlich's assessment. Is that crazy to think? Tight-knit defensive unit. The defense led you to the playoffs. We had some distractions in the playoffs that were because of OBJ, and then the following year there were a ton of OBJ distractions that led to the downfall of that team because McAdoo didn't know how to handle it. So if I'm Landon Collins and I'm looking at this, I'm going, man, I've been playing hurt. I got told to shut up because I was trying to criticize Eli Apple after what he said, and I got told to shut up. Meanwhile,
this other one's running.
On the other side of the ball, you just gave this guy a $19 million contract. He's hurt all the time. He's been a distraction. He always has his mouth open. Every other week it seems like he's making a proclamation that he's reborn and now he's refocused and everyone else has motivated him with everything they said. Every 3 or 4 days you get a proclamation from OBJ that everything's changing. Like, if I'm Landon Collins, I'm sitting there going, man, like, what the fuck? Like, yeah, I'm not good in coverage, but I haven't been the pain in the ass. I've been the guy trying to be a leader and was told to shut up. And now I have to wait? You didn't manage this situation to put your best defensive player under contract at 25 years old long term? I have to play on a 1-year franchise deal or accept your number, and you're not going to let me go into free agency and get what I'm worth when I could be the highest paid free agent? I could be the highest paid safety in the game? Like, look at it from Landon Collins' perspective. You would be furious. So I just don't.
You could talk. For some reason, the stream went down. Let me try to restart it.
All right.
It's okay. I can just replay the whole thing.
I mean, that's just. I mean, it's troubling. It's troubling. I mean, I try to look at this from a franchise perspective and not just a player perspective. And I just like some of the moves they're making to run the franchise are just questionable.
I hear you.
At least in my eyes.
I'm not the biggest Gettleman fan. I think they should have went with Lewis.
I mean, yeah, Gettleman has
No, not Lewis. What am I talking?
What'd you say?
On ESPN.
Riddick.
What am I thinking?
Louis Riddick, right?
Yeah, Louis Riddick. I'm going crazy over here.
That's what I thought you were talking about.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to talk about. I don't know what happened.
Now, Riddick came out today, and he tweeted that you're not going to sit at – he literally he used pick number 6. I mean, there's a tweet that says, all these good things about Haskins, and, I don't think you're sitting there and you're just going to be able to get him at 6. And I've been – that's another thing that I've been saying for 3 or 4 weeks. Like, somebody is going to be enamored with this kid. This kid is a good quarterback. This kid has a lot of potential. Somebody said to me the other day, well, what do you think? You called Haskins in. What do you think he's going to do for our team? I said, I think he does too. I think we have 2 more wins right away. He said, why? How can you possibly think that we would go from Eli to Haskins and we would get better with a rookie quarterback? And I said, because Haskins can hit guys in stride. I mean, look at how many times with our offense, Marco, do we talk about, oh, my God, that ball was behind him? If he hits that guy in stride, he's still running, and the ball's low and behind him or at his feet or too high, and he has to reach back behind him. I mean, you don't get that with Haskins.
Or receivers getting creamed because it was out of reach and they're still going for it.
I mean, I'm an Eli fan. But at this age, you know, it's not there as consistently as you need it to be. Does he flash? Yeah, he flashes. He should flash. Veteran quarterback. His arm's not hanging off. He should flash.
Right.
But for what you're paying him, you should have a consistent – you should be able to go out there and be like, I know exactly what I'm getting from my quarterback for 16 games. And if you're a Giants fan and you say that about Eli Manning, I don't know what you're thinking. I don't know what you're looking at.
Right.
His play is so inconsistent. And it's not even inconsistent by game. It's inconsistent by quarter or drive. Like, it's just so up and down. There was another stat I saw the other day where Eli's stats were the fourth quarter stats where he was completing, and they weren't even very good stats, but it was like he was completing 64% of his passes. He threw 3 touchdowns and 1 interception. And this was it was like late in the fourth quarter. And then like the caveat was it was like, okay, yeah, these are the stats late in the fourth quarter. Not bad, right? All right. Well, in these games that these stats were accumulated in, the Giants, at the time he took the ball, had a 1% chance to win. Like, what are we doing? You're talking about garbage points, garbage yards, dinking dunking.
I'm in agreement with you. I don't think they're going to trade up. I think they're hoping and praying that he's gonna be there at 6.
So do I. I think I don't. It's not even. I don't even know. See, I'd love, and you'll never know. Maybe after the fact, but maybe after the draft when like some news leaks and you know some reporter gets it. But what's going to be interesting is after the fact to see if they even attempted to move up, because that information will come out. If they attempted to move up, I don't know that they have the bullets in the gun, Marco, to pull it off. So, like, even if you want to move up, like if I called Oakland today and said, yeah, I'll give you 6. Well, here's the other thing, right? If you trade up, there goes your draft because you're giving up your second-round pick.
Mm-hmm.
So now you're trading back 6. So now you're only getting 1 player in the top 100, and that guy is Haskins. You basically punted to next year. And I'm not talking about 2020. I'm talking about 2021. Because where are you getting if you have to trade 6, 2, 2 fourths, and next year's first to get Haskins because you don't have a third and you don't have any other really chips or players that they want, this year's a wash. You're coming back with the same team with Haskins, and that's it. And I don't think that they'll do that because I don't think that. To me, I do it because I'm like, hey, I got my quarterback. I'm fine. Like I got the biggest piece of the puzzle, and now I'll worry about where I'm going to go from there. I don't think they can sell that to their fan base, and I think that will make the decision for them where they won't move. I don't think they have the bullets to move. I think they're going to sit right there, and I think someone's going to take Haskins, and we're going to be in a situation, gentlemen, where it's going to be best player available at 6, and then they're going to look to possibly move some of those other 9 picks around to try to get back into the second, third round and maybe pick 36 in that second round as their quarterback, and it's a Jones or another piece of shit that's coming out. Man.
Those meaningless games, and they didn't get that extra comp pick that they thought they were going to get, which would have given 11 picks. Which makes a huge difference, even though it was a 4th or 5th rounder.
Well, that's what I mean. You remember.
We're going in there with 10. We're going in there with 10. And that's more than some teams.
Yeah, but look at the value of the 10. Right? Like you got one. Like to me, like I'd rather 6 and 4 of them be in the top 100. Like I'm only walking out of this thing with 2 top 100 players. Everybody else is literally a dart throw. Like, I don't – and do I think that you can find good players in the back of the draft? Yeah, but I think your odds become a lot smaller. There's a reason why they're being taken on day 3 of the draft. So, like, while you have a bunch of picks there, how many of those are going to become valuable football players for you? I don't know the answer to that question, but I would assume that it's not going to be all of them. If there's 8 players from the 4th round on, you're lucky if 2 of them end up being quality football players.
History tells you that they're not going to be all quality football
History,
players.
the more numbers tell you there's a better percentage that they're not going to be than they are. Now, can you find someone that will be? Maybe. The odds are that they find 1 or 2 good football players from the back end of the draft. That's fine, but to think that they're going to hit on every single one of those picks is insane. It's absolutely insane.
Yeah, it's
now,
not
remember in the second half of the season where I was getting yelled at on the podcast from Tim and Justin when they were saying, I like winning. I like winning. How much do they like winning now?
You like winning too.
How much do they like winning now? Like, I like winning when it makes sense to win. But, like, those games, like, you look at like give away the Bears game and give away one of the other shit games that we won late in the year, and we're sitting pretty right now. But those 2 meaningless wins, look at the difference. Look at the difference. And that's why I get frustrated, and that's why I yell, and that's why everybody doesn't like me.
All right, we got phone calls. Let's get to some phone calls.
Do we really? On a Saturday?
Yeah, on a Saturday.
How about that?
Maybe it's just something. Who knows? 203. What's going on, gentlemen?
Hey, it's Dino, guys. What's up?
Dean.
What's up, buddy?
How you doing? Hey, when you were asking how old Odell is, he's 26. And I was looking, so is DeAndre Hopkins, and Antonio Brown is 30. Now,
yeah, but they're not on our team.
I understand that, but when you were going into the rant, I love you, Captain Negative, man. You maul me, but when you're going into the rant, like when do wide receivers decline? I remember Chris Carter, Tim Brown, Jerry Rice playing well into their late 30s and still producing.
Did they have the injury history that Odell Beckham Jr. has?
Well, I mean, really, he broke an ankle and he did what? A couple hip pointers.
Polls. I mean, 16 games over the last 2 years.
Yeah, that is inconsistent, but I'm just saying, like.
And it's not the only one. I mean, his rookie year he missed 5 games.
Yeah, so I mean, that's just saying that.
I mean, he obviously isn't a guy that can stay healthy. And here's the other thing about OBJ, right? And I hate, you know me, Marco. I hate saying how right I am all the time. Imagine if they didn't sign him last year and waited. Imagine if they would have did what I said and waited to have that contract negotiation, and he misses the last 7 games of the season. How different does that contract look now? Is it more favorable for the team?
Of course. I would think so.
You would think so, very much so. Yeah, he
because
wouldn't have got anywhere close to being that because you would have had Eli, Odell. You played 8 games over the last 2 years.
So then, what's your excuse for Olivier Vernon then? Well, no. You were all for Jenkins and Vernon leaving, correct?
Yeah, I'm all for. I would have traded them at the trade deadline because you would have got hit.
That's what I've been saying for
you would have got hit.
So
you
long.
would have got hit with the you would have got hit with the dead money, and you get rid of it.
Yeah, but their contracts were both $17.5 million. Well, like what was the cap hit? Like 12, 13 for each. You're
gonna if you trade them, you're gonna get a cap hit, but the cap hit would have been more. So like they still have a cap hit for Snacks this year, but it's like $2-something million because they got rid of him last year.
Yeah, if we got rid of him before the trade deadline.
Yes, they would have. You would have got dead money against you last year, but last year was a wash season anyway, and the number against your cap this year would be very minor. And then next year, and then the following year, it's gone. The money's gone.
And OV is just as much as inconsistent as playing time on the field as Odell, if not worse. Like when I looked at his stats a couple weeks ago, I think his whole tenure with the Giants, he only played 2 full seasons. Then it was like 8 games. Then he missed the first 5 games. When you're making $17.5 million a year, you're coming up with 6 sacks a year. You do the math. Is that really worth it? $17.5 million for 6 sacks? No.
And,
I don't
and now
think
his
it
cap
is.
number this year, is 19.5.
Yeah, and what's
So
the
like
salary?
they should have been on the phone. I mean, with his salary, I look at what hits the cap. Like they probably got bonuses and other shit. They all have
Incentives
stuff
and
like
stuff,
that.
yeah.
But like what's hitting the cap, right? So you got and now you look at it last year and you're like, if you can't project and say, wow, this is a guy that we couldn't get on the field through the first 6 or 7 games last year. He didn't contribute to the team until we were 1-7, and then he came on and played okay, but it wasn't
Same thing with
jaw
Jenkins.
dropping, right? So you're like, okay, well, why am I committing $19.5 million? Get rid of him. Can you have used an additional 4th or 3rd round pick for a pass rusher? I think you could have got a 3rd round pick for Jenkins. I think you could have got a 4th round pick for Vernon. Now, is that awesome? No, it's not awesome. But what it is it gives you the ability to. Well, it gives you the ability where if you want to move up, you have more valuable picks. Like if you, I mean, what would you rather have right now, a 3rd round pick or Sam Beal? Looking at this roster.
Well, I mean, we still don't know what Sam Beal has to offer just yet. I mean, it was a bad injury, but I mean, before the academic ineligibility and everything, they were calling him a 1st, 2nd round pick, weren't they?
When you look at the roster right now as constructed, what serves you better right now? Sam Beal coming off an injury, or the 3rd round pick that you don't have?
Well, the pick, because I don't know what to expect from Sam Beal, of course. So
he's coming off an injury. He's obviously not the brightest bulb in the box. The guy went to Western Kentucky and couldn't even pass his classes. So, like,
can he even learn the system? That's
I don't know.
About.
Now you would hope so, right? You would hope that his football term, like I can see a guy like that speaking. A guy like that can possibly speak football terminology like it's his first language, and maybe the guy just doesn't give a shit about school. So you know what?
Yeah.
Maybe I'm off base with that take to say maybe he's not the brightest bulb. Maybe the guy gets it, but he was projected to be a 2nd or 3rd round pick. The knock on him was that he was a little fragile, and then he gets hurt. You lose him for the whole season, and now you don't have a 3rd round pick. So like I hope Sam Beal turns out to be a good football player because we can use another cornerback, but. I would rather have the bullet in the gun to go up and get the quarterback. I don't think that the way this draft is constructed right now, you have enough valuable pieces to even be in play to move and call Oakland and say, hey, I want your pick.
No, because that's the main reason I called. I'm glad you brought that up. Because there's so many holes in this roster to fill that in order for us to trade up to get to grab a quarterback is our 1st round pick this year, maybe a 2nd, and perhaps the 1st round pick next year. That sets our organization back 2-3 years because
I don't think it does.
We could get a banger in the 2nd, 3rd round.
I don't think it does, though. I don't think it sets us
How
up.
many?
I think that's how you.
I think we're staying put. We're going to take the best available player at 6. That's my opinion.
So that's my opinion too, because I don't think they have the balls or the bullets to go get him.
Yeah.
But if you're telling me, here's the thing that as Giant fans we need to realize, okay? If you've just admitted the fact that the roster is not good enough to win next year, and there's not enough players that we're going to bring in or cap space that are going to really make addition to where you're going to be able to seriously push for a trophy, okay? Because if we're not pushing for a trophy, like the goal is not to finish 9-7 as a wild card team. The goal is to win the trophy, right? So if you're not close and we could accept the fact that you're not winning the trophy, then, yeah, I could accept if it costs 1, 2, and a 1, make the deal. Because if you have your quarterback in place and you're accepting the fact to say, okay, we're going to let some of these salaries go, but we have our quarterback to build around, and the quarterback is on a rookie contract for the next 4 years that you have control of that player, I got news for you, gentlemen. You don't need that 1st round pick next year. While it's valuable, while you never want to shit on a pick, you don't need it. You're going to have potentially another high pick, which was going to be good value in the 2nd round. You take the hit next year because you got to move to get the quarterback, and you realize the fact that you're going to have a ton of cap space. Now, what you do with that cap space is you're not looking to bring in veterans because you still have a roster that's very young. You just have an established quarterback that's going to be starting his first handful of games. You have your running back that is very young, but you are cap free to be able to do what you have to do to go get young players coming out of their rookie contracts that teams couldn't afford that have upside.
Isn't Griffin from Seattle a free agent this year, or is that next year, the safety? Not the one missing the arm, the other one.
I think it's he might have another year or two. Because they're looking to get rid of Earl Thomas, and if they're looking to get rid of Earl Thomas.
With the Landon Collins thing, it's like, listen, this guy has led the team in tackles the past 4 years. By far our best defensive player. So by letting him go, I know we haven't let him go yet, but that's just another hole to fill. So now you got to start looking at safeties in the draft, safeties in the free agency, when you should be looking at offensive linemen, maybe defensive tackles and cornerbacks. And that's just another hole you have to fill. So
to me,
I know he says he doesn't want to play under the tag, but do you think there's a chance if we tag him, will we be able to keep him after that tag?
I think it gets really ugly if you. I think you can book it that he's not going to show up if he gets that tag. He's not showing up until he has to.
Yeah.
And then you're getting a miserable player.
A Le'Veon Bell story.
And then you're getting a miserable player.
Yeah.
And that's a leader in your locker room. And my thing is this: is like I could accept the fact, I could accept the fact whether they want Collins back or they don't want Collins back, right? Like I can whether I agree with it or not, I can make a case for both, right? If you're telling me that he's going to be the highest paid safety in the league, right? Well, I don't love that. Okay, so I can see
the tag set at 11. Would you pay? Do you think Landon Collins is worth $11 million a year?
Yeah, I think the Giants are trying. Yes, I do. Where the salaries are going, yes, I do.
Yeah.
And I think that if he hit the open market because of the need at the position and because of so many teams having a ton of money. I mean, Eric Berry's making $13 million. The franchise tag is 11.8. Are you telling me you can't see a team that thinks they're close, potentially making Collins the highest paid safety in football and paying $13.5 million?
A lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there are teams there are teams that are so under the cap and need safety help that
they'll overpay. Right?
Yeah.
So you have a situation here where the Giants are trying to get a hometown discount. What they should have done was take. What they should have done, if they would have did things the way Mr. Negative said last year, you wouldn't have OBJ signed right now to a long-term extension, and you would have all that money. You would have Collins probably under a contract more of the tune to 10 to 11 because you would have did that last year. And now you're in a position where you could have franchised Beckham.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And you're paying Beckham you're probably paying Beckham $2 million less than you're paying him this year with the franchise tag.
The players are all about the guaranteed money now, though. You heard Antonio Brown.
Yeah, but that's not his. But that's not Beckham. Like Beckham wasn't. The Giants jumped the gun last year. They did not have to do that when they did it. Okay? There was a history of injuries. There's a history of bullshit. 3 head coaches, 2 general managers, both owners, a partridge in a pear tree. Everybody sat this kid down and spoke to him over the course of the last 4 to 5 years. The coke tape comes out, okay? And then you get a Boy Scout for 2 or 3 months, and you hand the guy $19 million a year. Then 3 weeks into the season, he's sitting next to Lil Wayne throwing the QB in the franchise that just paid him under the bus. So you can call me a hater all you want, gentlemen, but that I didn't make anything up. So like if they would have waited on that, how differently do things look now? There was no reason to have that negotiation last year. They were bidding against themselves. All they had to do was, Odell, come shut up and play.
Mm-hmm. All right.
And do you honestly think Odell wants to leave a market where he's got all these endorsements? Like, he's making more money off his endorsements just being in New York alone than his contract.
Yeah, but I don't.
If he goes
I don't think. I think.
You don't think he can get
OBJ
endorsements in Los Angeles? You don't think?
I think that he would get.
But Los
I think
Angeles
he would get
Miami.
endorsements in Tennessee.
Cooper Kupp, Odell Beckham Jr., Robert Woods.
But he would.
They can't afford
but Odell
all that.
Beckham. But Odell Beckham Jr. would be a superstar in Tennessee.
Right.
He'd be a superstar anywhere.
I don't think that it matters in the NFL where you play. I don't. I don't think it matters. I don't think it matters where you play. I think you could be a superstar and get those endorsements from anywhere. Does it help with the local endorsements?
Got all them endorsements if he played for another team besides the Giants.
If he had that performance and led to a Super Bowl victory, fuck yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I mean,
well,
yeah, I
do.
do. I mean, he was. I mean, yeah, I don't know if that team gets to the Super Bowl, but if you perform like he did in 2007 and then lead your team again in 2011, yeah, I think that those endorsements will come, no matter where you are, if you market yourself correctly. Now, do more endorsements come in New York and LA? Yeah, probably. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. But I mean, from a national perspective, like these guys, like you can't tell me he wouldn't have signed the same contract with Nike or whoever the fuck he's with if he wasn't in Tennessee or Jacksonville or wherever. So so when it comes down to it, the guy's he's making more money with Nike than why did the Giants feel the need to bow down to him when they didn't have to?
And now you hear he wants out. I mean, come on.
There's a problem at the top with the decision making. And if you were Landon Collins right now, you'd be furious.
Why doesn't Steve Tisch have any say? Why is it always Mara, the one that has to be the spokesperson of the Giants, when Steve Tisch owns just as much as the team, and he does shit? Steve Tisch does nothing.
I got news for you. I don't even think that I would trust Tisch. Like I don't think Tisch has any fucking clue what's going on football wise. I think Tisch is just a name. I think Tisch just likes to sit in the box and cash some checks and have his name on the fucking thing. Like what does Tisch do?
Nothing.
What does he do for the organization?
He shows his face up every now and then, smiles, and
what value?
away.
What value does fucking Tisch bring to the organization from a football perspective? Zero.
Yeah.
It's the Maras that are making the decision. It's the Maras that have the old man, the Duke, rolling over in his grave.
That's sad. You see all these teams whose husbands have passed away and have female owners winning Super Bowls.
Well, look at it this way, right? Here's what you need to know about the Duke and Mara, right? The Duke and his son, right? In 2004, when the Giants wanted to go get Eli, and of course he wanted to make that move, was the Duke on board?
I don't recall. No,
he wasn't. He wanted Collins. He did not want to walk away from Collins. It broke his heart having to walk away from Kerry Collins. That's the truth, and you can go look it up. It was not an easy decision for him to make. He had to be sold on it.
Because he was in favor of taking Big Ben.
When the GM went to him and said, "This is the guy. This is the guy. Eli Manning is the guy. There's no other guy. Trust me. It's for the best interests of the franchise. Let me go get him." And the Duke believed in his football people. He signed off on it, and they went and they got Eli Manning, and the rest is history. But the Duke was wise enough to separate his emotions and the sentiments from business.
They anti-Jerry Jones.
Everything you see from John Mara, his son, is the complete opposite. The Odell Beckham Jr. signing was a complete reaction to what was going on in the press and what was going on with him being a Boy Scout and all that. He got pumped by his wide receiver.
So would you compare it to Steinbrenner and Steinbrenner's son, that kind of deal?
Well, Steinbrenner. I mean, so far Steinbrenner's son. I don't have a problem with what they're doing. I mean, they just went out and got Giancarlo Stanton last year.
Yeah, that's true. They both like to spend money.
At least you see an effort, and it's not even spending money because they could have went out and got Bryce Harper this year, and they said no. They could have went out and got Machado this year, and they said no. But you look at the moves they're making, like the Yankees a couple of years ago when they had that fire sale. How did that turn out? They recognized that the high price guys that they had, that the older talent was not going to get them where they needed to go. So they traded a shit ton of people. They traded Aroldis Chapman and then signed them back.
Mhm.
So like, I mean, it's hard to compare what's going on with the Giants right now to the Yankees.
Something freaky is going on with my internet. We keep on dropping out. Let's wrap it up and see if I can fix it and
come back another time.
Yeah.
Holla at me, baby. I'll see you.
All right.
Guys.
All right,
Have a
Jen.
good one.
Thanks a lot.
Take care.
Try to fix this.
Go Blue.
Is it possible to make better better? Can you always expect more than what you always expect? At Honda, asking these questions brings us the innovative answers you'll find in the Honda HR-V LX. With more cargo space than a Subaru Crosstrek and